We are the Rizki-Produkt official TV, political actors advocating for institutional and structural comprehensive reformation and social democracy in the Gambia. Streaming our contents from the heart of Banjul City in the Gambia. This is the fourth segment of the multi-part series video content focusing on the concept of the economic multiplier in the context of the Gambia's economy. In this segment, we will be focusing on implementation and the examination of how the Gambia can execute some of the previously mentioned policies effectively within its current economic context, with the ultimate aim of stimulating the economic multiplier for growth. Let's begin. It is instrumental to note that implementing these policies requires a combination of government action, private sector participation, and international cooperation. 1. Trade policies. Export promotion and import substitution implementation steps. Establish export promotion agencies. The Gambia could create or strengthen an export promotion agency dedicated to assisting businesses with export readiness, market research, and finding international buyers. These agencies can also organize trade missions and international expos to connect Gambian producers with foreign markets. For example, the export promotion agencies can focus on agricultural products, textiles, and IT services, where the Gambia has competitive advantages. Develop special economic zones. Special economic zones can be established near ports or transportation hubs where companies that produce goods for export receive special tax incentives and streamlined customs processes. This encourages both domestic and foreign investors to set up production for export. For example, a manufacturing special economic zone focused on light manufacturing or agro-processing could reduce reliance on imports and increase exports of processed goods like cashews, groundnuts, or textiles. Import substitution through tariff adjustments. The government can introduce selective tariffs on non-essential goods that have viable domestic substitutes while lowering tariffs on inputs needed for key productive sectors. This encourages the local production of goods, reducing imports and keeping more capital within the economy. For example, a tariff on imported textiles could incentivize local textile production while reducing tariffs on machinery used for textile manufacturing. 2. Fiscal policies. Public investment in infrastructure and tax policies. How would this be implemented? Crucial to start with public-private partnerships. To fund large infrastructure projects like roads, ports, or energy grids, the government can enter into public-private partnerships. These partnerships allow the private sector to invest capital while the government maintains regulatory oversight. For example, the Gambia could partner with multinational energy companies to expand the electricity grid using renewable energy sources, which would reduce energy costs and increase productivity in all sectors. Another implementation step would be to incentivize strategic investments through tax breaks. The government can offer temporary tax holidays or reduced corporate tax rates to businesses investing in priority sectors like IT, manufacturing, and agriculture. This can attract both domestic and foreign investment, stimulating economic growth. For example, a 5-year tax holiday for companies investing in agro-processing facilities could create jobs and encourage investment in the sector, boosting the production of value-added agricultural goods. It is also vital to use sovereign wealth or development funds as an implementation step as well. Establishing a development fund or sovereign wealth fund from natural resource revenues, such as tourism or agriculture, can provide the capital needed for infrastructure projects or sector-specific investments. This would reduce the reliance on external borrowing and give the government more control over public investments. For example, a Gambian infrastructure development fund could be set up, funded by tourism revenues, to finance infrastructure projects in transport and energy that are vital for boosting the multiplier effect. The third point we will be looking at now is monetary and banking policies, access to credit and encouraging investment. What implementation steps are key to make this work? Establish development banks or credit programs for SMEs. The Gambia can establish a development bank focused on providing affordable loans to small and medium-sized enterprises in strategic sectors like agriculture, information technology, and manufacturing. Interest rates should be subsidized by the government to make loans accessible to these businesses. For example, A Gambian agricultural development bank could offer low-interest loans to farmers for purchasing modern equipment, improving productivity, and increasing food exports. Government-backed loan guarantees. The government can provide guarantees for loans issued by commercial banks to businesses in high-priority sectors. This reduces the risk for banks and encourages them to lend more freely, increasing the availability of credit. For example, a policy that guarantees loans to startups in the IT sector, encouraging tech entrepreneurs to expand without the fear of high borrowing costs. Financial inclusion initiatives. Partnering with microfinance institutions to improve financial inclusion for small businesses and rural entrepreneurs. This would allow small-scale producers, particularly in agriculture, to access funding and grow their operations. For example, a microfinance program offering small loans to rural women involved in agriculture and agro-processing could significantly boost rural incomes and enhance domestic food production. The fourth point is industrial policies. Manufacturing and agriculture. What implementation steps can the government exercise? Provide grants for innovation in key sectors. The government can launch innovation grants or research and development (R&D) subsidies to encourage businesses to invest in new technologies or processes in manufacturing and agriculture. These grants can focus on sectors with high growth potential. For example, a grant program for manufacturers adopting eco-friendly practices, such as using renewable energy in factories, would make the Gambia a more attractive destination for green investment. Agro-processing value chains. The government could work with development partners to establish agro-processing hubs where small farmers can bring their products for processing, packaging, and export. This adds value to raw products and creates more jobs. For example, a cashew or groundnut processing facility with export capabilities would allow farmers to sell processed products rather than raw materials, increasing export revenues. Attract foreign direct investment in manufacturing. The government can actively market the Gambia as a destination for FDI by promoting its strategic location, tax incentives, and young labor force. Creating an investment-friendly environment through streamlined regulations and incentives will attract global companies. For example, marketing campaigns and bilateral trade agreements targeting European or Asian manufacturers to set up factories in the Gambia's special economic zones could increase job creation and export revenues. Bullet point 5 is education and skills development. Training the workforce. What implementation steps should the government exercise? Create public-private partnerships in education. Partnering with private companies to create training programs that align with industry needs ensures that the workforce is equipped with the right skills. These programs could be co-financed by the government and private sector, targeting high-growth sectors like IT, telecommunications, and renewable energy. For example, a partnership with a tech company to create coding boot camps or IT certification programs could train Gambians in software development, allowing them to participate in the global digital economy. Vocational training centers. The government could establish vocational training centers specializing in industries such as manufacturing, agriculture, and logistics. These centers would provide practical, hands-on skills for the local workforce, ensuring that they are ready to work in productive sectors. For example, a center dedicated to training mechanics and technicians for the logistics sector could reduce reliance on expensive foreign labor and stimulate local employment. Apprenticeship programs. Incentivizing businesses to offer apprenticeships and internships for young people by providing tax breaks or direct subsidies would help close the skills gap in key sectors. For example, an apprenticeship program in renewable energy where students learn to install and maintain solar panels would help the Gambia meet its energy needs while providing skilled jobs. Bullet point 6. Environmental and sustainability policies. Green growth. What implementation steps could facilitate this growth? Subsidize renewable energy projects. The government can offer subsidies or low-interest loans to households and businesses investing in solar energy or other renewable energy sources. This would not only reduce energy costs but also promote sustainable growth. For example, subsidizing the installation of solar panels for small businesses would reduce their operational costs and make local industries more competitive. Create green investment funds. Establish a green investment fund to attract international investors interested in sustainable projects. This fund could focus on renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and ecotourism. For example, a Gambian green fund could co-finance large-scale solar farms, attracting foreign investors looking to support sustainable development. Introduce carbon credits or environmental taxes. The government could introduce carbon credits or taxes on companies that pollute. The revenue from these taxes could be used to invest in green technologies and conservation efforts. For example, a carbon tax on large businesses could fund reforestation efforts or support cleaner technologies in manufacturing. It's vital to note that all that we have explained so far requires coordinated policy action. For the Gambia to successfully implement these policies, there must be coordinated efforts across government ministries, private sector stakeholders, and international partners. The key steps should include establishing multi-stakeholder working groups to oversee and guide policy implementation, ensuring transparency and accountability through clear performance metrics and regular progress reports, seeking technical assistance and funding from development partners like the World Bank, African Development Bank, and United Nations agencies to help finance and implement these projects. These policies, if implemented effectively, could significantly enhance the multiplier effect by stimulating investment, increasing productivity, and creating jobs in the Gambia.